Hi, this is Ron Fink from Bad Wolf Press. This is another video on how to do really easy plays in your classroom. The subject that most teachers seem to worry about is costumes, and that's crazy. If your play depends on great costumes, then you don't have much of a play. I'll tell you what you really need to focus on. It's not costumes, it's making sure the kids are clear and as they speak, that we can understand them. Beyond that, costumes are just a little extra. So my basic suggestion is costumes are for advanced directors and for classes that have performed a number of times. Again, focus on hearing the kids and understanding the kids. Now, given that, you're going to want to do something with costumes in all likelihood. So what I hope you won't do is send a note to the parents saying, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, please provide a George Washington costume for Mary for tomorrow's school play." The parents don't want to get that note. It's putting too much pressure on them. There should be one person in charge of costumes, and that's you. But it's really, really simple. Okay, the very first thing I always suggest is have some uniformity in your class so everybody can just look and say, okay, they're in the play. And the easiest uniformity is simply a black t-shirt. Now, you notice this wonderful black shirt I'm wearing? It just so happens that there's all sorts of writing on this, but I've turned it inside out. You can't see it, and so you can ask the kids in your class, bring in a black t-shirt. Somebody in your family will have one, and whether it says Joe's Bar and Grill or Pleasant Valley Baptist Church doesn't make any difference. Once it's turned inside out, it's a uniform black t-shirt. Now, truthfully, that's all you need. You've identified everybody as actors. What more can you want? Now, you might be thinking, well, we can dress it up a little bit, and I completely agree. For a start, though, consider paper. Have any of you ever seen a little kids' Thanksgiving play where all the kids troop out in with wearing brown paper bag vests to be either the Pilgrims or the Indians? I happen to have a paper bag right here, which I haven't cut up into a little vest, but let me just shake it for you. Imagine 20 or 30 kids walking around like this. Antsy kids that can't quite keep their bodies still. Don't use paper. Don't use paper hats. Don't use paper vests. Don't use paper anything, with one small exception that I'll show you in a moment. Hats can be really cool. Suppose you're a farmer. Here's a nice farmer hat. Soon as the audience sees this with the black t-shirt, they'll say, oh, okay, this kid's playing a farmer. However, this is not such a good look. We want to see the kids' eyes. We really want to see their eyes. That's important. Now, you want comfortable hats, and a lot of times baseball caps are the easiest thing to do. What I've prepared for you is a very special costume of a wolf from a fairy tale. I have to say, making this exciting costume probably took me about 4 minutes, and I'm one of those people that flunked kindergarten because I actually don't know how to cut and paste. Anyway, you see this? It's the wolf's costume. This could have easily been in any kind of animal or strange creature or something that's not a normal person kind of part. Then a decorated baseball cap can be great. Again, just make sure that people don't wear them like this, because that's not good. Sometimes hats can be, for example, a hat like this suggests perhaps a driver or somebody in Old England. Or we have the all-purpose odd-looking hat. By the way, don't forget sunglasses. With or without a hat, sunglasses can give a certain mood. And this is something you and your kids can have a great time talking about. Remember, it's you and your kids in charge. Don't make things complicated. Now, sometimes things can't be conveyed with a simple hat and a black t-shirt. For example, suppose you're doing we have a play about geology, and what if you're the kid who's portraying the volcano? Hang a sign around their neck that says volcano. Or if you're a bunch of ferns, which are going to turn into fossils later, we have fern signs. You know, I know I said no paper, by the way, but this stuck to the shirt is not going to make a lot of noise. You can hang it, by the way, if somebody has to play two parts, they can be a fern first and turn the sign around and become a volcano. Couldn't be easier. Now, what if you're doing a history play? You could go sign up and say, this is George Washington. But you know, I think that's kind of silly. If somebody comes out and says, hi, I'm George Washington, father of the country, the audience will believe them. We don't need a three-cornered hat. We certainly don't need wooden teeth. And we don't need a sign saying what they are. People identify themselves, or somebody else walks in and says, so, aren't you George Washington? That's all we need to know. Now, I'm not completely anti-costume. I have read many interviews with famous actors, and they say things like, once I get into the costume that they've selected for me for this movie or this play, it helps me figure out who I am and what the character is. That's great. If you've done lots of plays, if your kids have done a number of shows, by all means get into doing costumes. But make sure you don't let, don't get over-enthusiastic parents sending in costumes. I once remember seeing a kid in some sort of, I think it was like a wolf costume, and he had a whole mask over his head and he couldn't talk and he couldn't move. The first time you do a rehearsal with the costumes, the volume of the speaking is likely to drop severely. Be sure, if you have costumes, that you do a dress rehearsal so they get used to it, and then they can bring their volume up. Other than that, keep things simple, keep things easy, don't worry about it. If you have questions, give me a call or an email, and I'm happy to help you. See you in the next video. Thank you.